Hi everybody, this is John. Welcome to the free video, and we're going to take a look here at Netflix. The markets are still open. It's about 1:30, and we're just going to look at this pattern here. So yesterday in the afternoon, you can see there was this volume surge into the close, and that's kind of been common. We're seeing a lot of accumulation into that last half hour. This morning, you had just kind of a very low volume move back to the breakout point. Okay, that's normal. And now we've just been kind of consolidating here through the afternoon. And so the question is that as we head into the close, is Netflix going to be able to make, I mean, this is like new all-time highs at 629.35, right? So we can kind of go through here and say, all right, are there any squeezes setting up? Well, there's a 15-minute squeeze, right? Now, a 15-minute squeeze isn't like going to have the same power as a 39-minute squeeze or anything like that. Let's see if there's a 39-minute squeeze. So there's not a 39-minute squeeze. What about a 78-minute squeeze? We had a, let's see here. Now, it's interesting. There actually was a 78-minute squeeze, and now that it's not there, I need to check my settings. For those of you that didn't know this, at least on TradeStation, natural hours. You don't want natural hours. You want session hours. Session hours are the regular stock market hours. Natural hours are midnight to midnight. Boom, and there. So you can see at this point, there actually is a squeeze on Netflix on the 78-minute chart, right? If we go down the 39-minute chart, there's nothing. But if we go to the 15, there's one about to fire, okay? And as we head into the close, I'm looking to see, like, okay, if this can go, and then if we can actually break out to new highs, where could this thing go? And this is kind of that classic 1272 extension, which would take us kind of close to that snow line there, right? So that's what I'm looking for here. So what's the best way to structure it? So as we look at the position here, we can see, and today's been kind of a sloppy day, but these are some calls, the 615 calls on Netflix that we got yesterday, all right? They expire next week, got them at 15 bucks, they're at 16.42, so they're down today, but overall in a profitable position. What I would like to do here is see if Netflix can kind of catch a bid into the close again, and then look at selling. So right now it's trading at 627.50, and then look at selling either the 630, probably the 630 calls that expire tomorrow, okay, to capture some of that premium. So let's see what those are trading at. All right, so we own options in Netflix that expire next week, but it's currently Thursday, and the market's got another hour and a half left. And so my question is there, kind of essentially legging into a diagonal here, is there any opportunity here that would make sense? Well, these 630 options the 630 call options, they're 217 by 235. So if I sold those and Netflix was sideways to down tomorrow, then obviously I'd get to pocket this money. Not the downside, but of course if we went through 630, my gains would be capped, right? So what I'd like to do is that if Netflix can stage a rally into the close and close strong, that kind of creates a kind of a premium boost into the close, and then I could go ahead and sell. And I don't have to sell. I mean, right now I've got 20 contracts. I don't need to sell 20 contracts. I could sell 10, but that's a way to kind of capture some of that overnight premium. And now you can see that now it's only down about 92 cents. So we're starting to get a little bit bid here. So you can see the premium in these out of the money options, right, is starting to go. So we can look at this here. So here's time and sales. So for today, so the high today is 628.99. Okay, the all-time high is like 629.35, which it hit yesterday. Right now we're bid 55 by 98, right? And you can see that, gosh, the volume is slow. I mean, that was just 20 seconds there in between trades for 100 shares. So, right now at 1:30 in the afternoon, just the volume is very, very slow. And what's been very typical here in these markets is that you've got these slow, very slow afternoons that are almost directionless, but then volume surges into the close. Okay, and this in the case of Netflix, typically buying. And so the question is that just in trading options, what's a good way to take advantage of that? Well, what I like to do then is when when we're come down to support, you buy calls, and then when we kind of get that surge, you sell calls against it, and that's just called legging into a debit spread. Of course, if they both have the same expiration, but in this case, I want to sell something that expires tomorrow, and that would be legging into a diagonal. So just kind of taking advantage of those rich premiums that we see here on Netflix. All right, so what else is going on here? Again, markets are open. So this is PANW, Palo Alto Networks. Now, this is an interesting earnings play. You can see we got 200 shares here at an average price of 156.54. Well, how did we do that? Well, we'd structured a trade based on earnings that if we dipped after hours, we would buy shares in it, okay? Now, it's nice with those 200 shares. It's making some decent cash. But ultimately, I was actually trying to buy 1,000 shares. Okay, so how do we structure that? Because what happens if the stock plummets after hours, right, and you just get hosed? Well, you can buy insurance beforehand. So what I did beforehand here is I bought the 149 puts, 10 of them. Okay, obviously those are expiring worthless today. And then I was trying to buy the stock. I laddered down between about $156 down to $152, and I was hoping to get it filled on all 1,000 shares. Now, obviously, if it would have gone down $100, I would have lost money, but I wouldn't. My stop loss essentially was at that 149 level, right, less the premium. So that's the kind of thing where you can at least sleep at night. In this case, I didn't get 1,000 shares. I got 200. So the way this trade was structured, we made money on the shares, made money on the put spread that we sold, and then lost money on the insurance. And of course, had the stock plummeted, this would be a losing trade. But the key with something like this is to determine, let's assume the stock goes down $100. What are you willing to risk? So that way you're not doing anything that's naked. You're just like, okay, my max risk is going to be $3,000. Whatever it is. It's obviously different for every account. Risk 1% of your equity, et cetera, and that's how you decide that. All right, guys, that's what I got. So again, markets are still open. It's 1:36. I'm about to hop in the trading room. I will update this trade in the premium video for what happened with Netflix, and you guys have a good one. Okay, and last but not least, I have a stocks class coming up, and it's simplerstocks.com/blueprint, and I'm super excited about this. This is kind of the strategy that I accidentally discovered while trading iOmega back in college. And the stock went from like $5 and it ended up going to $300. And I always wondered, like, did I get completely lucky on that, or did something specific happen? And over the years, I did find a specific situation where that actually tends to happen. It doesn't happen all the time, but it puts the odds in favor that this is a stock that's in play, and it's going to be create inordinate demand for the shares by hedge funds once it crosses a couple of different levels. And so this is just a class on how to find those and how to play them, how to manage them and all that kind of fun stuff. And that's going to be Saturday, June 6th. And it's an extraordinary kind of a setup, and it's great because you don't have to do this full time to do it. And then we're going to do a 3-day live trading class that essentially is kind of the next step. It's kind of turbocharging that. So sure, we're going to look at this stuff live, but we're also going to be doing a couple different things, and there's a couple of cool little bonuses here. So in terms of the other things that we'll be doing is essentially strategies to create a consistent low-risk income while waiting for these next kind of monster hedge fund setups. And this is selling covered calls, doing collars, no-risk collars. There is the guaranteed profit trade every Thursday, which is a lot of fun. Secret to trading volatile stocks like Tesla and Netflix. And this will be just a little different than other classes that I've done. It's the idea of, while looking, it's essentially tracking the elephant footprints in the market, what the hedge funds are doing, and then trying to find a way to make a living while you're waiting for that next setup. Okay, and so you're just kind of incorporating that all together. Now, the bonuses with this are pretty cool because we haven't done this before. So we've actually set up a database, and it's a $47 a month database, and we're offering 2 free years to this database for anyone that takes the $997 investment here. So essentially, you get this for free, right? So it's a 2-year free membership to the Simpler Stocks Growth Stocks Scanner. Okay, this is a new scanner we're about to release, and this automatically scans and applies the growth stock checklist for essentially finding and tracking what these hedge funds are doing, okay, to the best stocks in the top 10 growth industries. And there's no platform required, okay, so that's free. And then the second bonus is a 20-minute one-on-one follow-up consultation with any of our advanced trading coaches. That's normally $297, and that's free as well, okay? So anyway, that's the deal. You can see up here for the dates, the Saturday class will be June 6th, and the live trading is on the 9th, 11th, and 12th. And if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see that the Saturday class is $297. That's where you can learn all the kind of the hedge fund demand strategies and how to follow in their footsteps. And then here you get the live trading plus the strategies that we talked about above, plus the free bonuses, and it's going to be a pretty awesome class. This is different than anything else I've ever done, and a very cool way to create wealth without having to stare at your charts all day. All right, you guys have a great night, and we'll see you at the next update.